Our next story starts with a headline that took many of us by surprise, to be honest. It came from an important interview that RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat gave to a Sangh publication. He spoke about a range of predictable issues, but the most important was his view on homosexuality. Mohan Bhagwat said that the LGBT community is very much part of society and has a right to personal and social space. He says they should not be isolated. Let's quickly listen in to what Mohan Bhagwat has said.
तो ये अपने यहाँ पर ये लोग थे ही नहीं, ये मनुष्यों में ये एक प्रकार है पहले से, जब से मनुष्य आया तब से। तो एक बायोलॉजिकल एक विधा है, उसमें ये भी एक प्रकार है, लेकिन उसका बहुत ये हो हल्ला राइट, वो भी समाज के अंग है, उनको भी जीना है। जो उनका एक अलग प्रकार है उसके अनुसार उनको एक अलग प्राइवेट ऐसा भी स्फीयर मिले और सारे समाज के साथ हम भी है ऐसा उनको लगे, इतना सहभाग भी मिले। इसकी व्यवस्था बिना हो हल्ला किए हमारे परंपरा में हम करते आए हैं, हमको वैसा विचार आगे करना पड़ेगा।
Now, India decriminalized homosexuality when it scrapped a colonial era ban on gay sex in 2018. But it remains a taboo topic in a country of 1.4 billion people. So are the recent statements a softening of the Sangh's position on homosexuality? Now, until 2014, the RSS has supported the criminalization of homosexuality in India. But since then, the Sangh has softened its stand. In 2016, a senior RSS functionary called homosexuality a private matter between individuals. In 2018, when the Supreme Court decriminalized homosexuality, the RSS agreed with that stance, that it wasn't a criminal offense. Mohan Bhagwat's latest comments now show a further softening of stance, especially in issues that don't seem to be crucial to the Sangh's ideology. Bhagwat also referred to Hindu culture and mythology when he backs LGBT rights. In 2018, when India decriminalized gay sex, it was termed a so-called liberal step for the country. But the matter of fact is Section 377 was a British colonial law. For centuries, LGBT relationships have been featured in literature, in art, in mythology, and even in some temple art. But when the British colonized India, they brought their own ideas of right and wrong, banning homosexuality and making it a criminal act. It did not conform with India's ideology then, but the British enforced it anyways, leaving behind an anti-LGBT legacy in this country. Bhagwat's comments come before the government is due to respond to the Supreme Court about the petition to legalize same-sex marriages. This month, India's Supreme Court started hearing petitions to recognize same-sex marriages after 4 gay couples stated that without legal recognition, they cannot have access to rights such as those linked to medical, consent, pensions, and even adoption. The hearing is set to resume in March. I'm going straight across to Saurabh Kirpal, who is a senior advocate at the Supreme Court, who is joining us on the broadcast. He's an LGBT activist as well. Saurabh Kirpal, you've heard the statement that Mohan Bhagwat has made. What do you take away from it?
Well, I think it's a very positive development. Any recognition of the systematic discrimination the LGBT community has been facing, with the acceptance that there is both a private sphere where LGBT people live, but also acceptance of the fact that we are part of society and society must learn to deal and live with us and we must live with society. That's a very positive development. The way you've traced in your earlier discussion, the softening of stance, as you say, from 2014, 16, 18 to today, you see, we are not a dogmatic religion in Hinduism. And therefore, hopefully, this is a reflection of the changing views of society at large. And I think these statements are very welcome.
Do you think these views and this changing of stance will also be reflected in the government of India's response to the Supreme Court on making the Special Marriages Act a gender-neutral exercise?
Well, for that, we shall have to wait and see. The government has time till the 15th of February to file a reply. We'll see what reply they file. But we must remember, in the Supreme Court, there are a range of petitions. Some petitions have been filed saying that the same-sex marriage should be recognized under the Special Marriages Act. There, I do not see after this particular statement what the problem can be for the government. But there are also petitions which say that there should be recognition of same-sex marriages under the Hindu Marriage Act. So there, I wonder how the government will, and the RSS, to the extent it gives any input to the government, will now try to balance this idea of the private life of a couple with the idea of the society. So we'll have to see how they respond. But as far as the SMA is concerned, Special Marriage Act is concerned, I'm quite hopeful. Let's hope the government is listening to what the Sarsang Chalak is speaking.
It's interesting that he delves into history. Did you manage to see the entire article? It's dipping into mythology. He's saying that it's perfectly normal, it's biological, that the LGBT community has existed in India for a very, very long time, etc. What does it tell you? I know it's a change of stance since 2014. Why do you think it has happened? Is it because the Sangh itself is evolving? It doesn't want to alienate this large community that is also Hindu. I mean, and they are Muslims and they are Christians as well, but a large LGBT part of the community in this country is Hindu after all.
Well, that is a question best directed to the Sangh as to why they changed their stand. But all I can say is that it is correct that a large part of India a vast majority is Hindu. Whether this is for electoral considerations, whether this is a genuine change of heart, or whether this has always been the view which is now being expressed more liberally, I do not know as to what the cause is. But the net result is that the change is welcome. And to the extent, yes, I have heard the entire interview, which was given by Mr. Bhagwat. And I must say there is a sensitivity in that particular expression that he makes. For instance, he gives the idea or the instance of two people who were both generals in Lord Krishna's army when the Mahabharata was being fought. And how, when one Lord Krishna said that one particular general has died, the other general, who was also male, committed suicide. Now, you could either see this as just a story of two people being friends, but Sri Bhagwat correctly says that this kind of friendship where one commits suicide for another shows that this was obviously a homosexual relationship, and therefore shows the idea that homosexuality is both overt and also implicit, but has been existing in our society for times immemorial. So it may be just a recognition of that which we always were, a tolerant society. And I hope this reflects itself going forward, that we still continue to be and will aim to be a more tolerant society.
Saurabh, before I let you go, do you hope this reflects in your case as well? Because your elevation to the Delhi High Court as a judge is still pending. You have often said it's because of your sexuality. Do you think what the RSS boss has said will perhaps positively reflect in your case as well?
Well, in my case, the ball is now in the court of the Supreme Court. The government has returned the file. It's come back to the collegium, and I suppose the collegium will take a decision in accordance with its wisdom. So it's really nothing for the government to do at this point of time.
Okay, Saurabh, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for getting in your perspective into the story that surprised some of us this morning when we read it in the headlines. Thank you very much for joining us here on Mirror Now.